2005 saw the cooperative going from being primarily about information and me trying to get some medicine for myself so I wouldn't be so sick, and for my grandfather. I mean, this was the year that I really found out how well the things that I've been talking about making are going to work. And after 2005, like it really started to look like, hey, there's a promising business model here. And the beginning of 2006, a lot of things started happening. Like, my grandfather died on February 13th that year, and we were just finding out how bad Linda's cancer was. So I felt like I was being called back to the collective garden I stayed at in 2004 to help Linda along with her journey. I was also bleeding to death from Crohn's disease, and it was an exciting time, but it was also it was hard on me, and I didn't know how long I was going to live, so I started really rushing to try to make it so that if I died, that all the medicine that I knew how to make would still be out there. And I started teaching like anyone I could how to do it all. Unfortunately, most of the people who were interested in learning were really only interested in like finding a way to make easy money and to take advantage of the patients that were going to the dispensaries. So as I started to recognize that more and more, I began to retract from those groups of people. And as I retracted, they latched onto me even harder. And it got so bad that I didn't even feel like I could go back to Sacramento. I felt like in addition to, helping Linda along with, her lung cancer and providing relief for her, I felt like if I had gone back to Sacramento back then, that I'd get jumped or, who knows what. So with the Eddie's Medicinal Gardens, we tried to have a prominent face in the community. Eddie would go to a lot of the California Normal or the different pod events that were starting to come up. One of them was at Area 101, and it was a concert where I actually got to shake hands with John Trudell for the first time. And John Trudell has been, I listen to anything John Trudell has to say. He's a really great man. So I was up at Area 101 for that concert, and this one woman's looking at me smoke pot with a guy who's telling me about how he got stabbed in the stomach and like he had to walk to the emergency room holding his guts in his belly. And I would smoke him a little bit out every time that he would start to dip into like a panic attack. And this is just what I'm used to doing. Like I would call it a cannabinoid counselor back then. I like making up funny words for things. But it's real work, and I wasn't that much aware of it. This one woman comes from like way across the building, and she laughs. She sits down. I need to learn from you how to do what you're doing there with your energy. Something about your energy work. God told me. And she actually used the Celestine prophecy. It's the first time that a hippie ever used the Celestine prophecy to flirt with me. And I was bleeding to death. Like, I wasn't really aware of how attraction works and all that. I didn't know she was flirting. So, she gets the number of the house, and I feel like, part of my responsibility there was, if a woman's flirting with me, then I gotta pass her along to the boss. She wasn't interested in the boss. She was interested in me. And she started telling me about how her mom was dying of cancer when she was a teenager. Her mom actually died when she was like 13, I think. About how growing up with marijuana as like the only medicine that could help her mom out in the sticks in Laytonville really fortified her to believe as strongly as she did about how the plant should be used. So, you know, I've been teaming up with people. She saw that, like, you know, maybe with the medicine that I knew how to make, she could figure out some way to make money off it. There was a little bit of that too, but she actually had the good intentions, the real heart of things. And I started working with her, but the first time that she went to Sacramento with me, one of the kids who had been trying to learn to make medicine from me pulls a gun out and tries to shoot me, and she tackles that guy, and then, like, he, you know, you gonna shoot me now? What the fuck? He got scared and like started crying. He was only like, I mean, we were all like 21. She was 34. I was telling everyone that I was like 18 or 19. It was a crazy time. But after that happened, after I almost got shot, I realized that it was really important for me to survive. And I didn't exactly know how that would work, but something about how crazy my life was at that point must have made me attractive to one of the young women who was working at the dispensary, one of the first 5 dispensaries in Sac. And I went from working with this 34-year-old single mom to teaming up almost exclusively with an 18-year-old who wasn't really ready to make big decisions and go out into college. And, you know, I was only 22. I look at life now and like a lot of guys who are into what I do, you know, they don't get out of that pattern of being with a woman who's fresh out of high school. And I'm not one of those guys. I haven't done that since then. I was young. I learned from my mistakes. But anyway, that's a whole different story. She grew up on a marijuana farm herself, and she kind of wanted to take matters into her own hands. So all of a sudden, like, instead of leading people on and getting them to take me as far as they could while they were trying to learn from me how to make money or just do something weird, I actually wanted to find out what I was talking about is actually worth anything. And she and I started looking for a place to go farm and, you know, go make medicine and really be one with the plant. So we went out there and did